welcome to ET Markets IPO Talk, where we discuss the latest IPOs in town. Today, we are going to discuss the Concord Biotech IPO, and for that, we are here with the management of Concord Biotech. Let's welcome Mr. Ankur Vaid, Joint MD and CEO, and Mr. Lalit Sethi, CFO. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Neha, for having us.
So to start with, I want to talk about Concord Biotech, which supplies to over 70 countries such as US, Europe, and Japan. Can you tell us about the domestic presence and are there any expansion plans for the future?
Yeah, basically domestically we are supplying to a number of customers, and our total revenue domestically is around 50% of the total sales. Regarding the expansions, I think we have already completed most of the expansion, growth expansion with respect to the API as well as formulation. In case of API, our facility has been, we have put up a new facility of 800 meter cube in Limbasi. And at the formulation front, we are taking up one injectable unit at Valthera units.
Okay. And what about the financial performance of the company? Can you take us through the financial performance in the last few years?
Yes, sure. Basically, in financial, we have a focus on three main parameters. One of growth, another of the profitability, and the third one is capital efficiency. With respect to the growth, our revenue has increased by 17.6% at a CAGR in the last 3 financial year. And last year, we increased our sale by 20% from 712 CR to 853 CR. With respect to the profitability, we are operating at an EBITDA margin of around 40%, and PAT margins are to the extent of around 28%. It is PAT margin is 3% more as compared to the previous year, and EBITDA margin is also increased by 3% in the last financial year. And with respect to the capital efficiencies, as I mentioned, that we had already expanded the capacities, and most of the expansion has taken place through the internal accruals. And our gross block stats at around 780 crore with this ROCE of around 24%. So these are some of the highlights of financial. I just wanted to share with you.
All right. Next, I want to talk about the sector in general. What about the biotechnology sector? How is the consumer demand right now?
So, biotechnology is a very growing sector. And if we talk about specific to the therapeutic segments that we operate in, which is particularly the immunosuppressants, oncology, anti-infectives, and antifungal, they are growing at a relatively faster pace than the overall industry. Maybe talking about one such example, which is immunosuppressants. If you see that it is expected to grow at a CAGR of around 10 to 11% over the next 5 years, which is quite a significant growth compared to some of the other therapeutic classes of products which are there.
Okay, and what are your expectations from the biotech sector in general?
I think in terms of expectation, as I said, that this is an area of our expertise, and very few companies are there globally in this space, which makes us quite unique in terms of the positioning of the company. Our expectation probably from the biotech is that we have more and more molecules that do get developed through the biotechnology route. Yes, there are quite a large number of molecules that we see where Concord is not present, and they are, some of them may be in our pipeline and some may be to target for us. But yes, I think it is a very growing segment, and there are a lot of developments which are happening in the biotech sector. We talk about, say, the large molecules, which also is somewhere or the other a fermentation, which is large molecules for biosimilars. So yes, pretty excited about this space and how it's growing.
All right. So moving ahead, I want to talk about competition. What sets Concord Biotech apart from its peers?
So I think Concord is quite well positioned when we compare to the peers. And Concord has, I would say, several capabilities because of which we are able to create that differentiation. We are offering a wide range of 23 fermentation APIs, fermentation and semi-synthetic APIs, which globally not many companies around the world have that kind of a product portfolio. And we are able to offer a basket of products rather than a smaller number of products in some therapeutic classes. Um, we have the necessary scale, which is 1250 meter cube of fermentation capacity, which I would say is one of the largest globally for small molecule non-penicillin products. Very flexible plant configuration, having regulatory approvals with us, because of which our customers get the flexibility to take the product globally with us. Backwardly
Right.
integrated on key starting materials, so zero dependency on China. So a lot of these factors kind of play out when our formulation partners are evaluating a supplier of the APIs.
All right. So moving ahead, I want to talk a little bit more about the competitors. How does the company plan to innovate when it comes to this fierce competition in the market?
So, we have a team of around 150 scientists in our R&D who have been working, over the last 23 years developing newer molecules and also improving the productivity of the existing molecules, so that, whenever there is competition that we look from some of the existing peers, we are able to address those market dynamics by continuously investing in the R&D.
All right. So lastly, before we conclude our session for today, I want to understand what is Concord Biotech planning when it comes to the IPO from both of you.
Basically, this IPO is complete OFS. The Helix, who has invested somewhere in 2016, are selling their shares, and there is no primary we are expecting at this point of time. And at the same time, no other stakeholder is also selling their shares. It's only a complete exit by the Helix. It's just an exit route for the private equity player who had invested in 2016.
And we have built in significant capacities at our end, whether it is the API or the finished formulation, and we have a very strong pipeline of products. So there is a good roadmap for future growth that we see for Concord, and one of the reasons to go to the IPO route is also that we can share this success story with our newer set of shareholders that we are very much looking forward to work with.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ankur and Mr. Lalit, for joining us on ET Markets live stream. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about Concord Biotech IPO.